So this is going to be a short session on the topic coordinate geometry. All right. Now, next part is that we have to know that your syllabus consists of the Cartesian plane, the ordinate and the abscissa, all right, and how to locate a point on a plane, all right. So it's very simple, really. This is just a basic introduction, and know that whenever you're given a dot, right, a dot cannot be measured. Say, for example, if you say a dot has some length, a dot has some length L. Is it possible? No. A dot does not have a length. Does a dot have a breadth? No. Again, no. And height is a different aspect altogether. So even if you ask if your dot has height, no. So a dot cannot be measured as a length, breadth, or a height. So all of these parameters do not exist for a dot, or rather dot. So we call dot a zero dimensional shape or a zero dimensional figure, right? Next comes, you've got a line. It's a bent line. Let's draw a straight line. So yes, so you've got a line, right? So if you've got a line, again let us see. It can be measured from this point to this point, right? So इसको measure करने के लिए हमें क्या चाहिए? What do we need to measure it? Now keep in mind, a line is characterized by only length, right? There is no breadth, there is no height. If you're embossing logos, if you're having some three-dimensional logos, that's a different aspect. But as in तुम्हारे syllabus में जो भी line के related concepts आएंगे, they are under the assumption that a line is a combination of infinite number of dots in a straight path, right? And as you know, the path has some length, but it has no thickness or no breadth. So this is what you call a two-dimensional figure. ना सब लोग हाँ नहीं बोलेंगे अभी, ठीक है? Do not agree to this concept. कोई भी ऐसा तुम्हें बोलता है कि लाइन इज ए टू डायमेंशनल फिगर, वो गलत है, ठीक है? लाइन इज ए वन डायमेंशनल फिगर. Remember this, because for line you just need the length, just one, right? No breadth, no height. So there is one. In case of dot, we did not need anything. There is no parameter that could measure a dot. So it was 0D. And then line can be measured only by the length, and hence it is 1D. And next, you have got structures that are two-dimensional. We'll get to that. But imagine a hypothetical scenario when you and your friend both are walking on a road, right? Your friend is here and you are here, right? So this length of the path can be measured using a line. But if somebody asks you, where's your friend? Like, कहाँ पे है? With respect to your position, you can say he is at a distance of say 5 meters or 10 meters. But how do you locate the exact position, right? You cannot locate the exact position as is. So what you can do is, now to pinpoint a position, say when you are talking about the real world, it is a three-dimensional landscape, right? If you are looking front, a person can be at a distance from you, a person can be at a different height compared to you, a person can be at a completely different position. It can be ऐसे मानते हैं कि there will be three axes, and three of the axes will be perpendicular to each other, right? Like this axis is perpendicular to that, and again the third axis is also perpendicular, right? Like कुछ इस तरह से. I don't know if it's easy for you to imagine, and it can be somehow hard, but it can be simplified if we are considering a, say there is a cube, and then again there is another cube, sorry, we'll just need one cube. One cube is enough for this demonstration, right? So this cube has a length, it has a breadth, it is a different axis, all right, and it has some specific height. So in a three-dimensional plane, we need three parameters. ठीक है? But in case of your chapter, we have to deal with planes, right? As in two dimensions, as I just mentioned. So for two dimensions, you can take a reference like this. ठीक? And in that reference, you have got the x-axis, the y-axis, all right? And if you have any point, say on that plane, right? I assume this is the point. So if you have any such point, to find out its position, वो पॉइंट का जो पोजीशन है उसको डिनोट करने के लिए, या फिर एज्यूम कि somebody asks you वो पॉइंट कौन से लोकेशन पे है, उसका पोजीशन बताओ, ठीक है, तुम उसको पोजीशन कोऑर्डिनेट्स बोलते हो, ठीक है। स्पाई मूवीज देखी हो? वॉच एनी स्पाई मूवीज, जेम्स बॉन्ड एंड ऑल? Well, send me the coordinates over. I'll reach there ASAP. I do not have the coordinates, right? By coordinates, you mean the location of the point, the address of the point. So here, how do we have the address of the point? So to simplify things, the address of the point in this plane can be located if you have the idea regarding the value of x and the value of y. ये पॉइंट जहाँ पे है उस पॉइंट पे x का वैल्यू क्या है, मानो x का वैल्यू a है, या फिर x का वैल्यू सपोज से 1.5 है एंड y का वैल्यू 1 है. So you represent it as 1.5 and 1. So you represent the position as x and y, right? So in this context, y coordinate is called the ordinate, and x coordinate is called the so again simplifying, when you have got one dimension, you have got a line, and एक लाइन पे एक पॉइंट का पोजीशन बताने के लिए तुम्हें क्या चाहिए, you need the length. Okay, like suppose say this is 5 meters. So starting point से ये पॉइंट 5 meters पे है and the starting point is taken as 0. ठीक है, whenever you are measuring, the starting point is normally taken as 0. You can also be asked to find out the path difference, or the length between 2 points, any 2 points, and you can have it in a different manner, like you can have 0 here, you can have 1, you can have 2, you can have 3. You can also have a similar setup, and you can be asked to find out, right, that find out the path difference, or find out the length between -2 and 2. So the number of hops you need, the number of units you need to change. And let me show you. Say you have to get from -2 to -1, then to 0, then to 1, then to 2. So you're jumping 4 steps. So the length is 4 units, right? So those 4 units refer to the length, or the position of 2 with respect to -2. Because जब भी तुम्हें लेंथ मेजर करना है, यू विल बी नीडिंग 2 पॉइंट्स, एंड वो 2 पॉइंट्स एक 1D शेप पे हो सकते हैं, दैट इज कॉल्ड अ लाइन. कम से कम यू नीड दैट 1D शेप. एंड in 2D shape, you have a complete plane, right? You have x-axis, you have y-axis, and इसका आगे का पार्ट है. Suppose you have 1, 2, 3, right, and such similar lengths scaled out, right? Assuming that all these lengths are unit lengths and are equal in length. So if you are asked to measure the point, or if you're asked to find out, ठीक है, if you're asked to locate the point 1 1, right, how do you locate the point 1 1? You check the value of abscissa and ordinate, all right, and you have got the point here 1 and 1, right? So 1 and 1 denotes to this point. Where? How do you obtain that point? First, what you can do is you can draw a straight line through that point, through the ordinate point that is parallel to x-axis, and you can again draw a straight line through the abscissa point that is parallel to the y-axis, and the intersection of the points, okay, or the intersection of the lines that you draw gives us the point 1 and 1. Similarly, if you're asked to find the point 1 2, right, how do you find the point 1 2 again? The most simplistic method is the method that you already know. You can look and say, okay, ठीक है, this point looks like 1 and 2. But again, if you're actually drawing it, if you're actually drawing it on a sheet of paper, what you can do is you can start drawing a line that passes through the ordinate 2, that passes through 2 on the y-axis, right? That line should be parallel to x-axis, or make sure that line is perpendicular to the y-axis. At least make a line perpendicular to the y-axis starting at the given point, that is 2 here. यहाँ पे जो line तुम draw कर रहे हो, it should be perpendicular to the y-axis and 2 से शुरू होना चाहिए. And again draw a line perpendicular to the x-axis जो कि 1 से शुरू होता है, right? And वो दोनों का जो intersection point होगा, ठीक है, that will give you the point that you're being asked to find out. So this chapter is really very simple. You can be given a point, you need to find out the ordinate and abscissa values and represent it in the manner like x and y, ठीक है. Like the above point, you can see it has been represented how it has been shown that it is 1 as per x-axis and 2 as per the y-axis. So y में इसका 2 units है, x में 1 units है, and you find the point. But there is more to it, right? So let's see what more. Like यहाँ पे खाली x और y 1 2 ऐसा करके तो नहीं है, right? If you see the graph, you can notice it goes to -1, -2, -2, -3 and such. So what does that mean? We have got multiple regions on the graph, right? So the multiple regions can be mentioned as follows. This is the first quadrant. Right? This is the second quadrant. This is the third quadrant. And this is the fourth quadrant. Right? So whenever you are given any question regarding pinpointing a given set of coordinates, right? If you're given -1 5, or say -1 and 2, you have to know, first you have to know this point belongs to which quadrant, right? You call this a quadrant, QUADRANT, quadrant. So in the first quadrant, it is characterized by plus plus. In the second quadrant, it is plus minus, right? In the third quadrant, it is minus minus. In the fourth quadrant, it is plus minus, right? So if you're given, let us see how the values go, right? If x is positive, y is positive, you got first quadrant. X is negative, y is positive, you got second quadrant. If you have x negative, y negative, you have got the third quadrant. Then you have got x positive, y negative. This is the fourth quadrant. So it's not really that difficult, right? In fact, it is very simple if you look at the contents of the chapter. For most parts, chapter में इतना ही है, ठीक है? And another thing that you need to remember is that this central point is 0 and 0. यहाँ पे x का भी वैल्यू 0 है और y का भी वैल्यू 0 है, ठीक है? I think that's all there is to this chapter, and we can have a detailed discussion in the next class, which we'll be having live. And for all those who had doubts or who had not attended this class, start, go through the session and solve the exercise.